Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Hi.
Jonathan Voico.
Hello, everybody.
Chris Carr is here.
That was so short, Ray. I wasn't expecting it.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for joining us and making our little show part of your day. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by going over some predetermined topics. And in the second part of the show, we're going to take your comments and questions that you guys have submitted to us. Now, normally, I would say live comments and questions, but we are not doing today's show live because our internet service provider is Spectrum, and they suck. And we've been having some upload speed issues that have prevented us from being able to do the show live today, so we are pre-recording. But nonetheless, all the questions that you guys have sent in to us at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip, as long as we consider the question appropriate to be used on our show, we're going to answer those today. And here's the good news. The tip link is good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you're watching this show at midnight and you think you have a question, go ahead and use the tip link anyway. Send on in that question and we'll address it, if it's appropriate, on the very next episode. All right, guys. With that down, let's get on to some topics here, shall we? And we're going to start off with this. Ms. Marvel, the Disney Plus show. There's reports going around that Disney is actually looking at doing a season 2 of the property. Something that, well, we'll get more into in a second here, the show absolutely deserves, but also kind of looked like maybe it wouldn't get it. Look, nobody knew who Ms. Marvel was, and its ratings didn't exactly explode off. I mean, it had solid ratings, but didn't exactly jump off the page at people. So there had been a lot of doubt about whether or not they would look at a Ms. Marvel season 2, particularly after the, let's call it what it is, box office floppage of the Marvels, of which Ms. Marvel was one of the things. Now, again, according to an online report from RPK, is saying that Disney is currently right now considering doing a season 2 of Ms. Marvel. That has not been greenlit yet, but it is what they're looking at. All right. For me, this would be a no-brainer. Ms. Marvel, to me, is the second best Marvel thing that Disney Plus has ever had on. Obviously, the best thing Marvel's ever put on Disney Plus is WandaVision. To me, by a significant margin, Ms. Marvel is the second thing. It's a very different kind of property for a Marvel kind of title. But Ms. Marvel was charming and warm and sincere and delightful. And, to quote Robert Meyer Burnett, joyous. It was joyous. It made me feel joy every time I watch it. I loved her. I loved her family. Doesn't hurt that Iman Vellani, who plays Ms. Marvel, is a good Canadian kid. So that always puts her up on the ranks for me. But just, I could watch entire episodes of just her sitting in her family living room, talking and arguing with her mother, her father, her best friend, her brother. I love them. And I could watch so much of it. It's actually a perfect property for Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. It's a perfect IP for Disney Plus. And I think this was something they should absolutely jump on. So I love hearing this news. Chris, I know you enjoyed Ms. Marvel.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if either of us have ever been expecting to see season 2. I think we've both kind of hoped for it. Mm-hmm. Would this be the right move for them? And where are your hopes right now?
Oh, 1000% this is the right move. Give people a reason to keep this streaming service.
Yeah.
Give them every reason to keep this streaming service. This was one of the highest rated Marvel properties to ever come out. Despite the review bombing, despite what people wanted to try to do with some of the show, critics loved this show. And most people who actually tuned in to watch this loved this show so much. And Ms. Marvel, the comic book character herself, sales-wise was incredibly popular when she came on the scene back in 2017. Over 500,000 copies sold of her run. I think that year she was the 67th top selling Marvel property out of over 200 things. For a debut character, that's huge. She was particularly popular at Scholastic book fairs and things like that because of having a younger hero in the mix, right? The story that she does is so great. Her family is wonderful. She's so charming. We've had her set up to be the leader of the Young Avengers, which I know is not your favorite idea. But
I still don't think they're going to do it.
If anyone's going to do it, though, it should be her. She's so great. She's so likable. She's so fun. And we still have so many mysteries with her, too, right? We had that lovely little stinger of, your genes are actually mutated.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that
So,
was so good.
I want to have more of that. I want to see what happens with Bruno. Come on, give me more of this show. It's the right move, Disney.
And, by the way, just in case anybody else missed it, there is a recent Marvel trailer where it was Daredevil, where we see Kamala's dad
Oh yeah.
from the show. I think he was working in a bank. He was either going to do business at the bank or he works at the bank. I can't remember.
And it makes sense. You're in Jersey. You're gonna pop into to New York City every now and then. Why
Yeah.
not? I
Now,
love
look, and
it.
I'll say this too about Young Avengers. I still think it would be a bad idea. I don't think they should do it. I don't think they will do it. But if you were to do it, and they certainly wouldn't call it Young Avengers
No.
because they'd want to protect the Avengers name. But if they were to do something like that, Disney Plus is the place for it. Because you'd be taking Kamala, you'd be taking, what was her name in Bullseye again?
In Bullseye.
So I keep
Oh,
saying,
no,
I keep
Hawkeye,
mixing up
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye
Kate
and
Bishop.
Bullseye.
Kate Bishop. Yeah.
Kate
Hawkeye.
Bishop.
Yeah.
So, Kate Bishop, what they absolutely should not do because they've tried it and it failed is try to take a bunch of TV characters and move them
Oh,
onto
no,
a movie
no.
project.
No.
But if you want to take a bunch of these TV characters and then create another show, a la Netflix with the Defenders.
That's what I was thinking. The Defenders ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slash Muppet Babies. It's great.
Oh my god.
And you don't overload it.
Babies.
But you have, who would you put on there? You would have Kamala, you'd have Kate. Who else would you put in there? Who else?
Well, we don't know. I mean, I think the twins are just the.
But they're still not real.
I know.
Twins
They can be
aren't
willed into
real.
existence.
In theory, you can bring in Ironheart because she's young adjacent.
Right? Yeah. And she's going to have a Disney Plus show.
In theory, you can have, and he wouldn't be in the show regularly, but you can have an appearance from Peter Parker. You can have Spider-Man in there of getting back with this group.
Thor's daughter.
He's more mature
know?
than them, though. He's aged a little more than them. But
Yeah,
but
but
he
it-
could be like the,
If he's like collegiate, which
Yeah,
same
yeah,
age as Ironheart,
yeah.
right? And also he's been doing his own thing, and then has this
what
whole
if
horrible story.
what if it turns out that White Vision is like the leader over the Young Avengers? So then you have some kind of an anchor.
Ooh, that
An
could
So
adult
White
anchor.
Vision comes in and kind of becomes the Charles Xavier of
Yeah.
the Young
Yeah.
Avengers.
Yeah.
or like how
Ray,
Batman
you were
dealt
saying
with Young
Thor's
Justice.
daughter?
Yeah,
Love?
but she might be a baby.
She's a little on the young side.
She's a little on the
Youngest
murder.
Avenger.
She's a little on the murderous
Youngest
side
Avenger.
too.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Listen, I know there's actually a lot of you who have not watched the Ms. Marvel series. Watch it. It's delightful. It's really super. It reminds me a lot of the great teen comedies of the 1980s. It's just a wonderfully stylistic, warm, beautiful. Check it out. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Glass Onion came out as the sequel, of course, to Knives Out. And it had a very tall task, try to live up to this incredible original. And I thought it did. I don't necessarily think it was better than the original, but it lived up to the name of a Knives Out saga, right? A Knives Out story. And LeBlanc is now one of my favorite movie detectives. Love him. James Bond becomes a detective. Sounds good to me. Well, we've known for a while now because Ryan Johnson posted a while ago, surprised the world saying, we've got Knives Out 3 coming.
Yep.
What's it called again? Wake Up
Dead
Man.
Yeah.
Wake Up Dead Man is coming. Well, man, they move fast because Knives Out 3 Wake Up Dead Man is now done shooting. They're finished. Now, this comes to us from the folks over at Men's Journal who wrote, and that's a wrap. They're quoting Ryan Johnson on his social media. That's a wrap on Wake Up Dead Man, writes Johnson, who directed the previous films in the series. It went so fast. Best crew, incredible cast. This was a really special shoot, and I cannot wait to put it together. So, obviously now the movie itself is not done. Just the shooting's done. Now it's the time where the real work begins behind the scenes. They get into the editing room, piece this thing together, score it, all the post-production, and then this thing will probably be dropping on Netflix. Now, Netflix toyed with giving it a tiny theatrical release, and they enjoyed incredible benefits of doing that. It made really good money for how small of a release it had and for how limited of a release it had. So I've been kind of hoping that they might do the same thing with Wake Up Dead Man. I'm not sure that they're going to. I certainly hope that they do. But Daniel Craig as LeBlanc, listen, I'll tell you why this is exciting to me. This franchise has revived, I'm not going to say resurrected, but revived the murder mystery trope. Completely revived it. Because this whole thing used to be a big thing back in different decades. The Agatha Christie and all the knockoffs and stuff like that. That's why shows like Perry Mason or Matlock or what Murder, She Wrote and all these kind of things continue to be popular. People love good mysteries. And very, very few movies in the last bunch of years have been true, pure mystery solvers, right? They've had mystery mixed in with other things. But Knives Out has been like pure solving the mystery, the old formula of the great detective, the unsolvable murder. It's been wonderful. Knives Out killed it. Glass Onion gave us whole new dimensions to it, and I thought it was wonderful. And I cannot wait for Wake Up Dead Man, and I'm super excited to hear that it's done shooting. Chris, you know, I know you've appreciated the other films. Where's your anticipation level like for this? And are you surprised, as a lot of people are, that they wrapped production on this thing relatively quickly? What do you think?
It does seem like it happened really fast, but Ryan Johnson knows what he's doing with these films. I trust him on these. I like the guy so much, and he understands noir, right? Ever since Brick, I've just been like, yes, this guy gets it.
Brick is so good.
It's so good. It's so underrated. If you haven't seen Brick, you guys go watch it. Good old Jogo. Oh my gosh, it's killer. All killer, no filler. It's wonderful.
And then watch Looper.
Oh, he's so good in Looper.
Yeah.
Anyway, this cast, though, that he has in this film is insane. He has so many good people in this, too. So I think when you have this level of talent, things can just fall into place. Especially you've got seasoned stage actors like Andrew Scott who know how to hit their mark, who know how to give you a strong take. You've got Glenn Close in there. You also have some really exciting newcomers in there. There's Kaylee Spaney, who is obviously having a great year because of Alien. Yeah. She was also Priscilla of Priscilla. The person I'm really excited about, though, is Daryl McCormack. So he was the lead in Good Luck to You, Leo Grande with Emma Thompson. And he was also in this amazing Apple TV series called Bad Sisters.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
It's so good. Again, if you like a murder mystery, oh my gosh, you should be watching that.
I just scrolled down. I'm like, Thomas Hayden Church.
Thomas Hayden Church.
I forgot about
Kerry
that.
Washington.
Josh Brolin is in here.
Mila Kunis.
It's
Jeremy Brent.
wild.
Jeremy Renner.
This
Yeah.
is such a great cast. So when you have that level of talent, sometimes sure it can become too many cooks from one kitchen. But when you have a really great lead chef and then all of these sous chefs kind of in the mix, I think you can come up with something really great in a short amount of time. So it kind of surprised me, but it doesn't worry me.
Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Knives Out 3 is now done production. It feels like just yesterday they surprised the world when they announced that they were even making it, and now it's done shooting. What do you think about the Knives Out franchise? I mean, we love it around here. Maybe it doesn't work for you so much. Maybe you like it even more. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got to talk about a couple other things. Francis Ford Coppola's new film, Megalopolis, just put out its new trailer. And I'll be honest with you, it's not very good. Also, Robert Downey Jr. explains the roadmap for how they actually came to the decision for him to play Victor Von Doom, I should say. So hang tight, guys. We're going to get to those things and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Miracle Made. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/Campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. And thank you to our friends at Miracle Made for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get on to this, shall we? A new trailer for Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis has now dropped. A movie that nobody is going to go see. And listen, it gives me no joy to say that. It's Francis frickin' Ford Coppola. It's the man who gave us The Godfather, right? I mean, it is what it is. But we heard a lot of there was a lot of excitement amongst the distribution community, the movie distributors, when Francis Ford Coppola was bringing them a new film. And I remember last year, it was 2023, when the distributors finally got to see the film. And they were like, what is this? They were like, how do you sell this? Like, how do we sell this to the audience? How do we get people interested? This is not, and subsequently we didn't hear great things about it. Now, I have not seen it, so I have no idea. I just know it's Francis Ford Coppola. This is a strange trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
For 2 different reasons. One, the obvious thing. The first third of the trailer is just how great how great Francis Ford Coppola is.
That would have been
That would've
really
been
great.
Martin Scorsese's the best.
Bold. If you
Now
like
come
things
see the
like
Francis
that,
Ford Coppola
check
movie.
out his.
I mean, and then it does something really strange. It's like, oh, Godfather got terrible reviews. Because listen, it's the elephant in the room. People are not saying nice things about this movie. And their argument they're trying to make is that, well, people said terrible things about his other movies. And to be honest, it's a little disingenuous. Because while there was certainly a lot of scurry around The Godfather when it first came out, this whole portrait they're painting that everybody hated The Godfather when it first came out. Really? Everybody hated it? Because if I recall correctly, they gave it Best Picture of the Year at the Academy Awards.
And it was a box office smash.
Is that how much everybody hated it? That they actually voted for it to win Best Picture? And then they talked about Apocalypse Now. And they showed a couple people like, what the hell is this? By the way, there are still people today that look at Apocalypse Now and say, what the hell is that? I personally love Apocalypse Now, but there are a lot of people today who look at that movie and go, this. And then I thought the strangest thing, Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is, I'm sorry, it's not a great movie.
That one, the reviews, you're like, that's fair.
When
That's,
when it was going through, I was like, oh, okay, oh yeah, oh.
I can
yeah.
see that one.
But they use so much of their trailer to basically whine that there are people out there who saw the movie that say they didn't like it. To me, that's not showing confidence. That's just you complaining and whining. And is so far beneath an icon on the level of a Francis Ford Coppola. Okay, but put that aside for a minute. And it wasn't short. It's not like it was like a quick, the critics didn't like Godfather, boom, boom, boom. And the critics didn't like Apocalypse. No, it was like this long, drawn out thing.
When it first started, I honestly thought, oh, shoot, I think I clicked on a gag trailer. I don't think this is the right one.
Is that Lawrence Fishburne?
Yes.
Yeah.
Doing the voiceover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even his delivery, it
made it sound like it was a joke.
And it sounded like a joke, and it sounded like it was a throwback to like the old 70s, like, in this movie, you'll see.
It's very Don LaFontaine, which is a great voice. I mean,
Lawrence Fishburne doing it.
Yeah, but it does make it feel antiquated. And I know we still have trailers with critics say that
Yeah.
but it
In a
feels like a weird throwback.
Yeah.
Now, then we finally got to the trailer.
Yeah.
I still can't tell you what this movie's about. I've seen several pieces on this film now. I've seen several pieces of marketing for I still couldn't really tell you what it's about. And if Blade Runner 2049 taught us anything, which almost everybody acknowledges is a brilliant film, just putting a marketing campaign that says, look how weird and twisty and otherworldly our movie is. What's the movie about? We don't need to tell you that. Look how strange and advanced and utopic that this whole world is. That doesn't work in marketing. Blade Runner 2049 is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant film. Everybody agrees with that. But it flopped because they took this kind of a marketing approach. And I'm sorry, but I don't see average film goers watching this trailer and going, ooh, I got to go see that. Now, there are going to be a bunch of hardcores out there who are just like, Francis Ford Coppola, good enough for me. And that's totally fair. I'll be there to see it. Like, I think this trailer is a big miss. I'll still be there first day because it's Francis Ford Coppola. So I will always give Francis Ford Coppola the benefit of the doubt until I see the movie and he loses that. But, you know, I'll go to see it. But who's going to go see this movie? This movie is going to flop.
It's my most anticipated.
Mega.
Right after Sonic.
I can see the headlines now.
It's number one.
I can see,
Beat out Sonic.
I can see the headlines now. Megalopolis.
Oh.
Oh, bravo.
Or what? No, if it does good, it's Mega Can't Stop You list.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, his is better. His is better, but still, come on. Come on,
man. This movie's got the buff in it. Shia LaBeouf is back.
Ray's gift with changing up names. We were riding in the car the other day, and I just popped on YouTube as we were in the car, and Steve Kerr happened to be giving his DNC speech, the coach of the Olympic team.
Oh, yeah.
And so Ray goes, because his name is Steve Kerr, he says, Kermala.
Right, Chris? No.
I love you.
No, take the camera off. We'll just include laughing sounds after.
You know, the thing is
Just
that...
include laughing
Yeah, the thing,
sounds.
we'll add a laugh track.
This one's pre-recorded.
Yeah,
we
so
can
we
do
can-
that. We can
Yeah.
edit it.
We have the power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
You like
completely
when I say
change.
we? You have the power.
I have the power in post, so I can do this.
No, but you know what? With this trailer, there was a couple shots that looked very interesting to me. I thought they looked very cool, especially that big robot sitting on the corner, depressed robot, I think.
It was a statue, and it was
It
like
was a
it started
statue.
moving.
I thought that, but still, I don't know what's going on. This guy's trying to build the perfect city, right? I think because of maybe a
perfect
disaster
society.
that happened, or perfect society, and they're planning to block off everything else, or they're worried about like the pushback from like maybe the poor side. Is this like a class war?
I think it's not a class war so much, but it's more of like we want to keep this, like we want to rebuild the city the way it was,
But
and
they
he's
wanna
like, we
block
can
people
change
out.
this now.
But they're trying to block people out, right? Is that why the uproar is there?
No.
No, that's a
think-
political
No.
uproar that they're
Oh.
trying to
Yeah.
get against him. Yeah, but it does seem like part of the movie is like in his head, where they're just kind of dancing around skyscrapers, or he's like about to go over an edge, but he stops and he goes in reverse, and the bottle cut. So there's stuff that's like not really happening in reality, like that moving statue, because it's just in his mind. And then there's this political debate going on. It kind of looks like Caligula in like futuristic New York. It's all over the place. So
It
I do
is.
get all over the place. It could actually land as a film, but I don't know.
And I will say, to his credit, it is a really interesting marketing ploy to take the bad press you got and put it in front of the movies
Try to
that
make it
everyone,
work for you. Yeah.
and just do, hey, everyone since I came on the scene has been saying how my movies are dog shit, and they're not. I'm an Oscar winner. I'm one of the best. I'm a maestro. So who's to say that this film is going to be another flop? All of you have come to see all my other ones, right? It's just the packaging of it that feels weird, because then you follow it with this, which feels very ambitious, but also very disjointed, and a lot of like Journey to the Moon references with, Caligula.
Now, by the way, the synopsis
Pretty cool.
reads like this. Megalopolis is a Roman epic set in an imagined modern America. The city of New Rome must change, causing conflict between Caesar, Adam Driver, a genius artist who seeks to leap into a utopian, idealistic future, and his opposition, Mayor Franklin, Giancarlo Esposito, who remains committed to a regressive status quo, perpetuating greed, special interests, and a partisan warfare. Torn between them is socialite Julia, the mayor's daughter, whose love for Caesar has divided her loyalties, forcing her to discover what she truly believes humanity deserves.
Oh.
So a litcapulets going on here. I guess, on some degree.
Do we remember what the biggest things the critics said that that reviewed it already? What was the big? Do we?
Mostly that it was a mess.
It's just a mess. There was no like underlying theme between all of them.
I remember more of what the distributors were saying after they said. They were just like, we don't know. I like, how do you? This is a very confusing film. We don't know how to. I don't know how a general audience is going to get into this.
But IMAX picked this up, right? They're supporting this.
Well,
that was one of the actual big
They picked it. IMAX is in a studio.
Oh yeah.
So they
Distributor.
picked it up, which means they'll play it on IMAX screens, but it's not like Twister or it's not like Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, when they say they're going to play it on IMAX screens, it could be on 5 for a day, or it could be on 50 for a month. I mean, they weren't really specific to that. The head guy of IMAX made a commitment that we're going to play this on IMAX screens, but they did not say how big, how wide, or how long.
Yeah. Essentially, I mean, the fact that his name is Franklin Cicero and his name is Caesar, it's just a play on Cicero and Caesar and how.
Well, the town is called New Rome.
In New Rome, and like Cicero's, I guess just his like adversarial nature towards Caesar, reforming the Roman Republic, and he could see he was trying to make it into an imperial system, and so I mean, it's definitely just like a take on Rome.
And
But-
we
Which could be cool.
saw some gladiator games going on too.
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
trailer.
yeah, they had the like the
It's-
circus. They had
Which felt very out of, again,
Yeah,
it's
it felt
New
out of
Rome.
place. It felt out of place for a place being so futuristic. There's
or
still,
this could be cool, and it could have like a cool comic book kind of overtones.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I'm like you, John. It's like I got to see this to
Yeah, I
understand
have
it.
to see it. Have to see it.
I got to get one more
It's
trailer.
definitely ambitious.
Yeah.
I will absolutely give him that. This
Oh,
seems like such an ambitious film.
100% it's ambitious. And he pulled a Kevin Costner. I mean, this is
Yeah.
self-financed.
He sold a winery.
Yep.
And there's a sense of respect for the creator or the director.
Yeah.
I mean, man, there's a lot of people who are going to see it just based on his merits.
I don't know that there's a lot of people who
I don't
will.
know. Yeah, because look at
I think there's a small select group of people, of which we're one,
Right.
because look
to
at
do
Flower
it,
Moon.
but I don't think a ton of people are.
I think it's gonna have a Flower Moon effect too. It's like the Scorsese. Like those are the people that are gonna see a Scorsese film day one.
It's weird that this is one of the films where it's not excitement that makes me want to see it. It's just curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
Just curiosity, because I have no idea what's going on, but some of the visuals make me want to see
Yeah.
it. Like that thing actually touching the moon or grabbing the moon, that one huge lady.
Right.
That's probably something that's going on in his head. But I thought that visual was really cool too.
I mean, look, some of the visuals look great, but it takes a lot more than that.
Yeah,
to
I
make.
know.
But we'll see. We'll see. Question is for you guys. What did you think about the trailer? I mean, look, it's one of these artsy trailers that it's going to absolutely strike the right chord with some people. Some people are going to look at this trailer and go, brilliant. They're going to be so excited for it. And that's great. And I hope the movie does that for us when we actually see it. Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's go on to this, shall we? Probably the biggest explosion on the movie news scene, especially among genre fans of the past while, has been the announcement that Robert Downey Jr., number one, is coming back to the MCU, and number two is coming back as Victor Von Doom. A move that I am, despite what some other people may say, I think is absolutely brilliant. I think now it could go bad and it could be terrible, absolutely, but I think the upside potential of this, the narrative potential of this, the things this casting alone, the avenues it opens up and the doors it opens up for directions you can go story-wise are amazing. And I cannot wait. And the audience is going to respond. The audience is going to come out in droves to Doomsday Now. But how did this all come about? Some people believed it was like a very last minute thing. Some people believed it was in the works for a long time. Well, Robert Downey Jr. was doing a podcast recently for The Hollywood Reporter, and he basically told the story about how this came together. And I'm going to read this a little bit at length because it's really interesting. It says, Downey recalled the conversation between himself and Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige during an appearance on The Hollywood Reporter's Awards Chatter podcast. Downey said, probably a year ago, because, you know, Feige and I keep in touch. We're pals. Jon Favreau and Feige and I have kept in touch. I'm also close with the Russo brothers, the actor explained. I had an idea outside the cinematic universe for how I could be of service to what's going on in the parks. Susan and I, that's his wife and partner, were sitting down with Feige at one point, and he said, "It just keeps occurring to me that if you were going to come back." And Susan was like, wait, come back as what? By the way, before we continue here, want to point out that this was over a year ago. About 5 months ago, Kevin Feige was being interviewed by somebody and said, "Hey, we're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back." And he's like, "No, we would never do that because we don't want to undo whatever." When like a year ago, he was telling Robert Downey Jr., "I just keep thinking about what if we brought you back?"
You can't trust or love anyone at Marvel. None of them. They're all
None of them.
liars.
It goes on to say this. Then we both realized over time that it was another thing that just disproves any doubt anyone could ever have about Kevin Feige. A very sophisticated, creative thinker about how we cannot go backwards, how we cannot disappoint expectations, how we can continue to beat expectations. And he brought up Victor Von Doom. And I looked into this character and I was like, wow. And later on he goes, "Let's get Victor Von Doom right. Let's get that right," Downey continued. So, the groundwork for this has actually been in the makings for a very long time. I suspect that the groundwork for this started getting laid the moment the first news report came out about the arrest of Jonathan Majors. And we're not here to litigate the Jonathan Majors things, his innocence, his whatever. We're not talking about that. But it did put Marvel in a position through no fault of their own that they had a PR nightmare on their hands. And I contend that even if it wasn't for the PR nightmare, they had a failed experiment with Kang. Kang, that they had a full season of Loki, a second full season of Loki, and an Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania movie to try to get him endeared to the audience. And he didn't come anywhere near the audience levels of the excitement, anticipation, dread, and fear that they had for Thanos. Because Ant-Man beat him. Where do you go from there? And so I think they had a big problem on several fronts, but it's really interesting to see that the first steps of this, at any rate, were set like a year ago. It's also not surprising to me that Kevin Feige, who has so famously been so passionate about Fantastic Four, that I think he's more excited about Fantastic Four than even getting all the X-Men characters. He reveres the Fantastic Four. A part of that, an extension of that, is revering Doctor Doom. And for him to say to Robert Downey Jr., "Let's get this right. Let's do this so good." And I believe with the Russo brothers getting involved as well, and the writer of Infinity War and Endgame also getting involved, I think we're in for something pretty special. So I like hearing about this. Chris, the one thing that did surprise me, though, a little bit, I must admit, because you know me, I believe that whenever something gets announced, it was probably decided many months before that. Mm-hmm. But even I wasn't expecting Robert Downey Jr. saying, "Yeah, it started about a year ago." Like even I didn't. Now, who knows when they came to the final decision, but still, when you hear Robert Downey Jr. telling this story, what's your first reaction to that? And where do you see them going with this?
I don't believe it. Dun, 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 dun. I kind of hate this. I'm going to be really honest, especially when he's like, "We can't go backwards." Why are you here then, Robbie? GTFO. It feels desperate to me. It feels like a money grab. And I know that there's comic precedents about this. I talked about this on my podcast when this got announced. I understand that there's a comic precedence. I buy into that comic precedence. I've loved those comics. This feels weird to me. And I'm going to see this movie. I'm going to see what it's all happening. But this being in talks for over a year, maybe it is, but it still feels reactionary. And this to me just feels like a very smart actor, producer soundbite of no, this was always the plan. This was always the plan. This is what we were always doing. Kevin Feige, he's playing, 4-dimensional chess while you motherfuckers are playing checkers. It doesn't feel genuine to me.
Really? Because we've talked on this show, like starting about 4 months ago, Robert Downey Jr.'s tone totally changed. Like months ago, because he went from the Joe Rogan interview ages ago. It's like, no, I'm done with Marvel. But like 4 or 5 months ago, his interviews, the tone of his interviews totally changed. We started getting verbiage like, I would go back to that in a minute, or it's like this is the most important thing to me in my life, and blah. And we started talking on this show. It was like, sounds like I gotta say, I reject the notion that good idea or bad idea, that's up for debate, and that
Sure.
we're gonna see how that plays out. But I reject the notion that it at all resembles something that's desperate. You know what would have been desperate? Bringing Thanos back. See, that's desperate, right? Like going
Sure.
well, Thanos would just bring Thanos back. See, that's desperate.
That'd definitely be a big jump the shark moment.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
or a Rise of Skywalker moment.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Somehow
And the
Thanos has
Emperor's not
returned.
here.
But I mean, doing something that nobody saw coming, doing something that caught everybody by surprise, and doing something that I think, again, to me, the narrative pathway, the possibilities of all the different directions you could go with something like this. Like we've talked about this before, that, you know, in the whole multiversal aspect of things, you know, that what happens if like Robert Downey Jr. or Tony Stark's great-great-grandparents originally came over to America and they did what a lot of immigrant families did. They changed their names. Where did they come from? They came from this little country called Latveria. What if in that universe, the great-great-great-grandfather never came over to America? What if they stayed right where they were? And they never changed their family name? Or other people have written in, what if Tony's parents died when he was an infant?
So
While
this is an
traveling
instance
Europe?
where you like the multiverse?
This is an instance where if you're going to use something horrible, this is a best case scenario, right? Where if you're going to do multiverse, this is at least something
At
in the
least
multiverse
do it
that
with
can
the
work.
lights on. You know? I mean,
If
I
you're-
ride the line between you two.
Yeah.
I think I think it is a bold move. I think if you're going to do that, it's not. We wanted them to take a risk. We've been saying they need to be more risky.
that's fair.
So it falls in line, and then it's easy to be like, oh, well, this is such an easy, really? Because it's not like you're bringing Iron Man back. That's lazy. You're
Yeah.
bringing Doom back, and now Downey has to channel into his amazing acting skills to be someone completely different that we no longer love but hate.
Sure.
I mean-
narratively, it makes for an interesting thing.
And that's how I lean this way. But then
Sure.
I also lean your way. Like this could just be like a Mongolian.
Oh, it
cluster
could go
F. I mean,
wrong in so
Yeah.
many ways.
And to be clear, I don't want it to.
No.
I hope
Right,
I
yeah,
go
yeah,
into the
neither
theaters
do
and
I.
I'm blown away, and I hope I'm just like, oh my gosh, this was the best use of the multiverse.
Well, I
yes.
think as we get more news about this, we'll have a clearer decision on, okay, you guys are just like, you're just taking the piss here. Or we're going to be like, oh, that's innovative. Oh, this is actually getting really interesting.
That's the hope. And it
So-
is more challenging too, to your point, that the Russos decided this is the way we bring back in our DJ. Because you could just have him, he's been the interface, he's been the Jarvis for other characters in different series. That's typically how he's brought back in comic books, and that's what I thought they were going to do. This is more challenging.
It could be 5, 6, 7, whatever years from now. We're like, man, you know, when you think of Doom, you think of RDJ. And when you think of Stark, you think of RDJ. He could get that duality.
I still really like that idea. We've mentioned on the show before the notion that the face of the man who was, in Captain America's words, Earth's greatest defender, is now the face of the man who's Earth's greatest threat. There's something kind of cool about that. And look, here's the thing too. There have been 3 Fantastic Four movies that have used Doctor Doom, and all of them have failed. I'm not saying they failed because Robert Downey Jr. wasn't Victor Von Doom. But I'm saying is, if you have something that has failed again and again and again, mix it up. Try something a little bit different. Again, that's why I say, I agree, this could end up being a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like 100%, I am not in any disagreement at all that this, while I'm saying there's like a million open narrative possibilities, there's also a million ways this could go badly. 100%. I just don't agree that it's a desperate move. I think it's more
That's
of a bold
fair.
move than anything else. Smart move? Maybe not. But I don't think it was desperate. Anyway, there's going to be a lot of discussion about this.
Agree
Moving
or
on for a
disagree?
long time. Question is for you guys. When is Doomsday supposed to come out, by the way? It's 2026, right? I just can't remember how far into 2026.
Yeah.
Look that up for me.
2026.
It just says
May
2026?
1st, 2026.
May 6, 2026. So it's
Secret
still
Wars, May 7, 2027.
So we're going to have a long time to buzz and chat and discuss it. But I mean, listen, if one of Marvel's goals in this whole thing was to get everybody talking about it,
Oh, they achieved that.
They
There's
certainly
no
did that.
question about that.
And they're paying a pretty penny too.
and they're paying a lot of money. So it better work out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about Robert Downey Jr.'s little story here? And where are you right now? Like, I think there's a lot of us, myself included, that how we perceive this whole situation is going to evolve between now and 2026. I think that's true of me as well. But wherever you guys think right now, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, let's now move on and start taking the questions that you guys submitted for us to address. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank another sponsor of today's episode of our show, our friends at Hungryroot. We want to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Hungryroot. Guys, you know me, I like things that make my life easier, especially things that make it easier for me to eat healthy and eat well, and certainly more effectively than trying to order from food delivery services. Hungryroot is the easiest way to eat healthy. They send you fresh, high-quality groceries, simple, delicious recipes, and essential supplements. It's like having someone else do all the planning and shopping so you don't even have to think about it. Hungryroot gets to know your personal health goals, dietary restrictions, favorite foods, how much time you want to spend cooking, and more. Then they build you a personalized cart with all your grocery needs for the week, including easy 4-ingredient recipes to put those groceries to use. Each order is fully customizable so you can take their suggestions or choose anything you want. They've got fresh produce, high quality meat and seafood, healthy snacks, smoothies, sweets, ready to eat meals, kids snacks and meals, vitamins and supplements, and much more. Everything from Hungryroot follows a simple standard. It's got to taste good, be quick to make, and contain whole, trusted ingredients. Right now, Hungryroot is offering the John Campea Show listeners 40% off your first delivery and free veggies for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/Campea to get 40% off your first delivery and get your free veggies. That's hungryroot.com/Campea. Don't forget to use our link so that they know we sent you. And thank you to our friends at Hungryroot for sponsoring today's episode. All right, guys, with that down, let's get on to the questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
There's no way I'm not attributing Tommy Wiseau now voices to Doom.
To Dr. Doom.
Yeah. Full Boil says, if shows and movies make me feel uncomfortable or bummed, I can't really enjoy them, even if the quality is high. The Boys, Logan, Shogun. It's frustrating. I'm trying to expand what I watch with little success. Does this happen to many others?
Here's the thing, Full Boy. Listen, movies and TV shows, the art, are experiential events. They hit us all in different ways and create different experiential reactions from us. If a show or a TV or movie hits you in a way that doesn't create or generate an experience for you that you enjoy or that you feel you're edified from or whatever, and you just didn't like it, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody seems to think that there is a right and wrong. In art, there's not. And if a show that a lot of other people like, and you watched it and it didn't create a good experience for you, then that show's not for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Go spend your time watching shows that do give you a good experience. All right, what's next?
Narf says, I don't know what was more entertaining to watch. Seeing how actually bad the story of the Acolyte unfolded week to week, or getting a kick out of watching the political crybabies online complaining about non-main issues of the show week to week.
Yeah, look, I've said it before, I will say it again. It's really quite funny because when I looked at first, I hated The Acolyte. I had to tap out of it. I had to stop watching it. It got so bad to me. So I say this is somebody who really does not like that show. But hearing the political agendas that people try to bring to it, it reminds me a lot of the Marvels. When I'm seeing so many people label the Marvels as woke, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down. On my third viewing of it, when I sat down and watched it at home, I'm going to look for all the messaging. When do they talk about girl power in the movie? When do they talk about lesbian love in the movie? When do they talk about how men just can't do a woman's job? And I watched the movie and I'm like, none. There's literally none. There is nothing in that movie at all The same was true, and I say this to somebody who hated The Acolyte. There was none of that in The Acolyte either. Not that there would have been any problem if there had been. I'm just saying, if there had been, I could see why you would feel the need to complain. But there wasn't any of that in there. Here's what was there. Talking about the Marvels, the presence of women.
Yeah, the existence.
The existence.
How very dare they exist.
And here's the thing. I have no respect for you when you're bothered simply by the fact that they're even there. When them even having a role is offensive to you, you're the fucking problem. You're the fucking problem. And I don't want to hear from you anymore, so fuck right off. Anyway. So same kind of feel with The Acolyte. I hated that show. I fucking hated that show. But it had nothing to do with girl power or any of that nonsense, because there wasn't any of that in the show.
Well, no, and even if there was, why do people feel so threatened by it? Why do you get so upset when women try to take space?
Well, I have been wondering if you could just like leave.
I have so much distance from you right
leave.
now, Jonathan. Lord. Like, it's just one of those things, though. Every time it's, oh, this female hero doing all this stuff. You have no problem when it's a guy. Why does this make you feel so personally threatened? And when people are, please go see a therapist and unpack why you hate that or why your mom didn't hug you enough. I don't know what's wrong.
Here's the thing, too. I brought this up in our newsletter once, but this is true. Now take a movie like Deadpool and Wolverine, a movie which I loved. It has far more. Deadpool and Wolverine has far more of what you would call woke propaganda in it than the Marvels does. In Deadpool and Wolverine, you've got, well, first of all, you've got a lesbian couple in Deadpool and Wolverine. So that's there. You've got a lady boss who kicks our heroes' asses easily. And the only way the heroes could win is by kind of cheating and not even fighting her head on. They had to go do something else. They run into a crew that is being in the void that is led. I mean, you got Cassandra leading the one group, but then they find the other group. Guess what? They're being led by women too. Constant homoerotic and whatever innuendo and humor and jokes and all that kind of stuff.
That's all that Canadian crap.
Yeah.
Then you had
Just
the
loading it
Deadpool
on.
Corps. Deadpool Corps. 100
Yeah.
Deadpools. Who leads them? Who's the leader? Who's the boss of the Deadpool Corps? The one female Deadpool is the leader of the Deadpool. Interracial love matching is in. I mean, look, again, am I saying that Deadpool and Wolverine is a woke movie? No, but I'm saying there's way more of that stuff in Deadpool and Wolverine than there was in something like Ms. Marvel. And I find it equal parts hilarious and absolutely gutter pathetic when I see some of those trolls trying to hold up Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh, yeah, it succeeded because it wasn't woke. Dude, it's got way more of that woke material in it than the other movies that you call woke are. Again, to me, it makes no difference whatsoever. But it shouldn't make a difference to you either. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, as someone who likes Brie Larson, after all of this, as Captain Marvel, I honestly can't think of a single bad casting choice in the MCU. Can you? P.S. I asked my wife the same question. Her answer made me laugh. RDJ as Dr. Doom. Wait, was this Logan?
Wow.
Which,
He's not paying for this show.
which
Come
of
on.
course, you cannot say until we see him play the role.
Yeah.
Listen, Marvel's done a pretty bang-up job with their casting. I mean, Chris Evans is Captain America, Chris Hemsworth is Thor, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, so on and so forth and on and on. There have been a couple that stood out as weird to me. If I go to the Eternals, I think the casting of, who is the leader of the Eternals?
Rob
Rob
The
Stark.
actress, or are you talking about?
The actress.
Gemma?
No.
Selma Hayek.
Stark wasn't. No. He wasn't the head.
Was Selma Hayek
The
in
what?
charge?
Selma Hayek.
Okay.
Oh,
I
right.
thought her casting was a little. I mean, she's amazing. I love Selma
how
Hayek,
dare
but that
you.
seemed to not quite fit.
Angelina Jolie was the one that I was like, what
Yeah.
are you here?
Yeah, one of the world's great actresses, but it didn't quite fit.
No. And also,
Even though I liked
stick
her
with the
performance very
dialect.
much, I liked her performance in it. I didn't quite see the fit.
The Celestial, too. Pretty bad.
I don't know where that fits at all.
The casting of the Celestial.
I just laid
There's
there in the
probably
ocean.
one or two others that I can't. But look, for the most part, they've done a pretty good job. For the most part, they've done a pretty good job with their casting. All right, what's next?
We got Michael Jones, the two-parter. Here is the math at the end of last week when actuals were in. Inside Out 2 had grossed 1.593 billion. After actuals were in this week, it has grossed 166. Now it's up even higher. Meaning last week worldwide it grossed 33. It's $35 million short of Lion King. I think it's about 34 now. Then part 2 says, now I know it will drop next. Hang on, this is spelled weird. Now I know it will drop, but week to week, okay, worldwide drops have been consistently between 25 and 35. Why I think it will pass Lion King Labor Day weekend.
All right, so it's even closer now.
Yeah.
It's even closer.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it crossed 1.6. And Inside Out 2
Number 10
is now just 5 million behind Lion King.
Wow.
Dang.
Inside Out 2 is just 5 million.
No, more than 5. That's 28. And it's 30 something.
Because
it's
it's 1.66.
Yeah, 663. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. So it's okay. So it's not as close as I thought.
Aw.
It's still like 30 something million behind.
Yeah. I think it's like 34 million.
It's
35.
I just don't know that it's going to catch it. I hope it does. I hope it does. If for no other reason, just to stop the stupid argument about saying, what's the highest grossing animated film of all time, and then having to correct everybody all the time when they don't mention Lion King. So I hope it does it, but it's running out of gas.
Yeah. The problem too is that it's compounding. So it's going to be in fewer theaters, and the theaters are going to be smaller.
Yeah.
And then audiences have to choose if they even want to bother with a smaller theater. So the problem compounds as it goes on.
To your point, last weekend, Inside Out played on 1,850 screens, which is down 350 screens from the weekend before.
Mm-hmm.
The next report for the next weekend, it's going to be probably, I'm going to guess, in like 1,200 screens.
Yeah, 12 to 13.
So it's going to continue to drop. But again, it's got a chance. It's got a chance. So we'll see.
They could release it with extra footage, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Is that a
my
tactic
God.
That can happen?
Dude, don't even go.
No, I'm just saying. Is that something that?
Well, they
will
could do
count
the Zack
towards-
Snyder
will count
release.
Oh,
You know what? I'm not actually sure if releasing with additional footage counts.
I don't think so.
I know just re-releasing it counts.
Yeah.
I don't know if re-releasing it with different footage counts it as a different project or not.
Oh.
I honestly don't know. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm saying I
'Cause
don't
thought
know.
That's what Avengers did in order to catch.
You know what?
Avatar.
With No Way Home, they did that, and it just added to the tally.
Did
Oh,
it?
okay.
Yeah.
So maybe they do include it. I don't see Pixar doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
David says, hey, John and crew, like you often say, the title of a movie doesn't really matter too much. It's just part of the marketing. That being said, so we're disagreeing about that. I feel The Mandalorian and Grogu is not a great movie title. That's just me, though. Still excited for the film. Well, you can have good and bad titles.
I got a
They're
better
still
title.
What's
They're just
that?
still
Mangu.
marketing. Mangu.
Mangu.
Mangu. Now
Mangu
on-
sounds like a very different
Now on
movie.
P-Hub.
That's, yeah.
Mangu.
Mangu.
It's the not safe for work one.
Now listen, again, don't
Depends on where
misunderstand
you
me.
work.
Talking about the quality of a title versus the importance of a title. Title's not important, except that it's in terms of whether it means the movie's going to be good or bad. It's a marketing tool, so it can be good or bad for marketing. I agree that Mandalorian and Grogu is a bad title. I don't think it's a good title. I don't think it's going to particularly hurt the movie at all, but I do think it's not a great title. But again, that will have zero impact on how good or bad the movie is, though.
Mandalorian and me.
I think it's going to be a Marvel situation.
What'd you say?
Personally.
Mandalorian and me.
The Mandalorian and me. I still like. What was it? Preschool Predator. I still like Preschool Predator. Where's that movie?
Oh yeah.
I want
This
to see
is
that
going
one.
to be my new super goop or soup goop.
Soup Coop.
This is the
Send
thing
that
that
to Jonathan
I
Ray.
got that
it's
right.
the thing people are going to
Give
yell
that
at me
to
when
John.
they see
You
me
got,
at Universal.
okay,
now.
for those of you who might remember, we were talking about like what a Predator movie with kids, like as an alien in Predator, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Keep
And
going.
Chris said Preschool Predator. It's like, wait a minute, that sounds like a very different movie.
I just wanted an alliteration, not a crime.
It's like,
Go ahead.
movie, preschool press. So Ray.
I'll get that ready for you.
Oh, you haven't given it to him yet?
No.
Oh, okay, we'll get to
Go
that
ahead.
later. All right, what's next?
All right, Julia Goodwin, your pure Italian soul may faint, John, but I found something you should try. Spaghetti and meatballs with 4 Mexican cheese melted on top inside a large soft flour tortilla. It's messy, but I promise, because as long as it's not spicy, I think he'd.
Yeah,
Sounds
that
amazing, actually.
that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, it's just a fusion.
To me, it's just
food.
spicy. I can't handle spicy stuff. So like when I get like the various meats, whether it's like sauce or whatever, like I like sweet Italian sausage as opposed to, hot or whatever. But that sounds good to me too. That sounds really good. All right, what's next?
Julia's back says, with the animators possibly going on strike, I'm sure the impact won't be as hard on the industry as the double strike. But how much of an impact do you think it will have as a whole? Is it like kicking a man in the shins when he's just got knee surgery? Ouch.
It's not going to have anywhere near the impact on the industry as a whole. That's because when the writers and actors went on strike, everything shut down. About what would you guess, Chris? 1 out of every 20 movies that comes out is animated, 1 out of every 25.
Probably something like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds about correct.
So you're talking about maybe 5% of the movies that are come out are animated. So it'll have a proportional impact. Don't get me wrong. The studios will not be happy if their animation projects get shut down, especially with the money
Yeah.
that animated projects are making,
Huge.
at least the bigger ones, right? So, but it's not going to have the same kind of impact that, say, like the writers and actors strike did, which affect every movie, including animated films. So, yeah.
They'll just do more live action ones like Lion King. So,
What a shit disturber.
Noonan says, since I missed you in the Marvel Golden Age, my question is, at the beginning of Infinity War, the Asgardian ship gets blown into space dust, and I only saw one ship at the rescue of Asgard. How is there a new Asgard? Wong, you're invited to my wedding.
I believe the operating theory is that when the attack happened, a bunch of escape ships got away. That's the assumption, is that there were a bunch of people who did escape prior to, Thanos boarding the ship and taking out all the rest of them. So that's been the operating theory on that. All right, what's next?
Julia Goodwin says, why do you think AMC doesn't use their movie ads as streaming ads? It would make more sense to have them on the ad roster for Hulu, Netflix, etc., and even YouTube. It couldn't be as redundant as playing it in front of already movie-going audience. They played it on TV, but I agree, it should be on YouTube.
I mean, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube.
Oh, no, but I mean, like, to run, like, if you have an ad-supported YouTube account, that should be part of their ad,
Yeah, now that costs money.
Yeah.
But 100%. Look, I've never done advertising with the John Campea Show, but if I were, a much better place for me to go, and by the way, I may start trying this. My business manager really wants me to do this. Instead of running an ad for the John Campea Show on the John Campea Show, which is exactly what AMC does, they take somebody who's already paid for a ticket and is already sitting in an AMC movie theater and saying, hey, watch an ad for AMC movie theaters. It's like, I'm already here. It would be more beneficial for them to run, like, take out, now that Netflix and Disney Plus and all of them have ad-supported campaigns, ad-supported tiers, put it on there. That would be, but it would also be much more expensive. Much more expensive. All right, what's next?
James Bat Fanatic says, just wanted to give thanks to all of you on the show. I've been watching since AMC days. Thanks again for keeping me smiling, even when I was homeless back in 2017.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Today I have a roof over my head and wife and 3-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
It's
that's
awesome, man.
Well done, James.
that is awesome to hear.
Damn.
Now, I'd be more interested in that as a biopic than
Yeah.
some musician.
Yeah.
That's a
Unless he's a
biopic I want to
musician.
see. Unless you are a musician. Then I take it all back. That's awesome. Thank you, man. That's great to hear. Thank you for sharing that, dude. All right, what's next?
All right, Purple Parmita 2000 says, hey guys, whether you like the Acolyte or not doesn't matter, but it has shown this dangerous precedent that companies won't allow shows to grow, even previous prestigious TV shows, if their first season wasn't good. It just makes me worried about TV's future.
Here's the problem, though. Whether you thought the show was good or not is not irrelevant. It's very pertinent to the discussion. Also, you can have a show that, Infamously, a show that a lot of TV files consider to maybe be the best show in television history is The Wire. Like people, hardcore TV historians and fans, like so many of them will point to The Wire as like the greatest show of all time. But even those people will tell you infamously, the first season was a bit of a slow thing. Parks and Rec. When I rewatch the entire series of Parks and Rec at least once a year. But you know what I don't do? I don't watch season 1. I always start at season 2. So yes, but here's the thing. Even in days gone by, if a show comes out in its first season and its ratings do this week over week, those shows got canceled too. The problem with The Acolyte isn't just that it was bad, and that's a subjective interpretation. You may have liked it. That's fine. I'm saying for me, it was bad, but it wasn't just that a lot of people thought it was a bad show. As we reported yesterday, the ratings for the show after the premiere dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and never even got back in the weekly top 10 until the finale. And even with the finale, it only got to the number 10 spot.
Yeah.
Juxtapose that against something like WandaVision or Ms. Marvel, where week after week, the ratings went up and up and up and up. That's really what they're looking for. Like, they can have a show that kind of flatlines, but has potential, and they may want to roll the dice on that. But when you got a show that's on and the ratings just drop and drop and drop and drop, and a whole ton of people didn't like it, and it cost $80 million to make, it would be a bad precedent to make another season.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish they had made another season just for the people who enjoyed it. I wasn't going to watch it, but
Well, and then what about, we talk about like old school TV, like they would give it another season. Oh, do you know how many pilots, which means just episode 1 they ran a pilot and then never saw the light of day after that?
Yeah.
So they only gave it 1 episode, not even a whole season.
Yeah.
I have
9 out of 10 shows get killed in the pilot.
Now we are working on a pilot here at the John Campea Show, though. I present to you all Preschool Predator. We really think this is going to find a great marketplace.
Ray, I can see what else you're doing over there. You need to delete that right now.
Okay.
Oh, she's the
I want to
substitute
see.
teacher.
No.
He's cast now. Yes.
Absolutely not.
She's a substitute teacher.
Oh, you got Chris in it?
No. We're not doing that.
Yeah, because unfortunately, then people will make
Preschool
We're not getting
Predator.
anyone in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not do that.
My next Disney audition, they're like, this troubling image of you is on the internet.
Just be like I was a substitute teacher for the show.
Jonathan doesn't have to worry
Just
about
save
that,
it for
though.
me and show it to me later.
No. Okay.
All right, what's next?
No, but I have a lot of hope in this show. Full Boyle says, I understand movies are typically have 3-act structures, but how do you tell when it transitions from one act to the next?
There's no one size fits all. Think of it here's the classic way it's normally described. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back. Right? Think of almost any plot can kind of be looked at in those terms. Guys join spy agency, gets given big mission and fails, finds the missing clue, and goes on to take down the bad guy. Like, it's normally not something that I recognize as you're watching the movie. It's normally once I walk out of the movie, I can go, oh yeah, so Act 1 was basically up to here, Act 2 was this, and Act 3 was this.
Yeah.
And it can be, Act 1 can be 20 minutes, and Act 2 can be an hour, and Act 3 can be a half hour. I mean, so, but you can normally, do you ever think about that as you're actually watching the movie, looking for that 3-act structure?
Sometimes I was thinking about it when I was watching Trap. That was the one.
Yeah.
Where it was, okay, yeah, here's our setup. Okay, now we're getting into like what's actually going to happen of him trying to like outsmart everybody and do this stuff. And then once there was the reveal of some things, it was, oh, yeah, we're in Act 3 and it's boring.
Yeah, you can get it. It can be
To me.
It can even be a tonal shift.
Sure, yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, what's next?
We got Alex S. who says Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is supposed to be coming out soon, and we don't have a trailer yet. Should we be worried?
Guys, can I please, fuck. Ray, give me the release date for that movie again.
That is November Let me go.
Now, give me the
You
exact date.
guys just made John's brain break.
Sorry. It is December 20.
Guys,
December 20.
the movie is literally 4 months away. It's 4 months away.
Can't
They
believe-
shouldn't even have a trailer out yet. Like, we don't live in the era anymore like we did 7 or 8 years ago, where movies started putting out their trailers like 10 months in advance because they started to realize, oh, we're just wasting money for no reason.
Yeah, we get a pop and you'd forget.
Yeah, everybody forgets. I remember they did that for Godzilla King of the Monsters. They literally dropped a trailer for it like a year before the movie came out, and the movie ended up flopping. I mean, just because like nobody even like the initial impact of that. A lot of studios today now are not putting out their trailers until you get 3 to 4 months out. There are still exceptions. Yes, there are still movies that will drop, especially if you're at a special event like a Comic-Con or a CinemaCon or a D23. Sure, there's still special occasions when trailers will get dropped much longer in advance. But guys, the movie's still 4 months away. 4 freaking months away. There's no need for them to have a trailer out now. And even if we were 2 months away and the trailer hadn't come out yet, there's still no reason to worry. Because some people think, well, if a studio hasn't put out a trailer yet, that means they're not confident in the movie. No. If a studio's not confident in a movie, they will double down on their marketing because they know the most money they're going to get is from the people that they're able to trick into seeing it on the first weekend. So a movie dropping a trailer 5 weeks before, remember, John Wick didn't drop its first trailer until 1 month before the movie came out. Dropping a trailer 9 months in advance does not tell you one bit that the studio's confident in the movie. Not at all. It's just that they're starting early to try to talk you into coming to see the movie. So, number one, the movie's still 4 months away. Number two, even if it was 6 weeks away, it still doesn't mean there's anything to worry about. Neither to be worried about nor to be confident about. So don't worry about it at all. It's a commercial. They'll drop the commercial when they're ready. All right, what's next?
Okay, I'm assuming this is in reference to Acolyte. So Anonymous says, congratulations, Lucasfilm. You just gave the fandom menace. That's kind of a good, I've never heard that. Yet another major victory. Why should any woman of color, LGBT, or even minority bother getting involved with Star Wars when the slightest controversy will get them cast aside and basically ignored?
I believe Fandom Menace is a YouTuber.
No,
Is it not?
No,
Oh.
it's a group. It's a collective group of people who call
okay.
themselves.
I thought that was
who
one
gives
of
a
those
fuck?
guys.
Yeah.
My
So
bad.
here's the problem. They didn't cancel it because of they canceled it because it was a bad show and it lost all of its viewership.
Yeah.
It's not like this show was widely well received and had pretty decent ratings. Most people really dislike the show. Not everybody, but most people, including me. I was so excited for Acolyte. For years, I've been excited for Acolyte and talking about it and pumped up for it. I love the showrunner because Russian Dolls is awesome. And I had every reason to be so excited and pumped, and it lost me because it's bad. It's bad. And people stopped watching it. And that's why they did not cancel it because of this. And by the way, to just go, well, because it had a person of color in the lead, keep making them anyway.
Yeah.
That's as dumb as saying it's got a person of color in the lead, cancel it. Both are equally as dumb. It's a show that didn't get liked and a show that didn't get watched. And so they pulled the plug on it. It's the same reason why we haven't heard about Obi-Wan season 2. Anyway.
I would almost counter that, and it's not really a critique towards Anonymous here, but in a sense, you're giving these tools a win because they're going to say, see, we were right about something they were not right. And if you allow them that and you liked it, then don't give them the win.
We're already giving them too much oxygen
Yeah.
right now, so let's just move on.
Oh, went to the wrong shot. Trap says, I really almost walked out of Trap last night. This movie broke my suspension of disbelief so many times. I couldn't ride with the movie anymore. I'd rather see The Last Airbender again
Whoa.
while getting fart-winded in the face by an overweight bad older person.
I never got to see it.
Dang, it is not nearly as bad, in my opinion, as Last Airbender. Last Airbender I walked out of. I finally watched it at home. There's a video somewhere on the internet of me ripping that movie apart. I hate it with every fiber of my being. Trap at least had some fun moments. And sure, you have to suspend your disbelief, as you do in many films. But man, oh man.
It's too bad, too, because the trailer was so good.
Yeah. And Josh Hartnett is wonderful in it. What he does with it is great. Honestly, the things that bummed me out were I wish they pushed it a little further. I loved some of the stuff. It's just when you find out, like,
What you find out.
when you find out, it's that. My biggest issue was we have been conditioned to have a twist in an M. Night Shyamalan movie. And then when there wasn't a twist, I went, well, what the hell? And that's a whole other thing about expectation then, right? Was I disappointed in the movie because it didn't give me the twist that I usually am promised? Or did I not like the movie because I didn't like the movie?
That's the twist.
Boom.
What a twist. All right, what's next?
Pacific McRim. Hello, Campea crew. If you had to choose one group to be a part of the rest of your life, what would it be? The Judean People's Front or the People's Front of Judea? Life of Brian reference. For those who don't get it, I absolutely got it.
Good read on it.
That voice you just did reminded me of in Holy Grail.
Yeah.
When they come and go, who is your lord? Well, we
don't have any lord.
It's, oh my God, that scene is so good. Was it Life? No, it wasn't Life of Brian. Which one was it that had the sketch in it of the super fat guy eating in the restaurant?
That's the meaning of life.
That's Meaning of Life. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Anyway, Monty Python.
I love
Need to go
it.
back
So
to
good.
Monty Python.
So
You know, when
good.
I got the internet, when I first got the internet,
Ooh.
I mean, I'd been on the internet on my friend's house, but when I first got a computer that I was able to actually connect to the internet on, the very first thing I found and downloaded was a text document of all the sketches of Monty Python.
Oh, wow.
Aw.
That, and then a complete list of all the David Letterman top 10s.
That's so pure.
So those are the first things I ever downloaded on the internet.
And then it got crazy.
and
Then it got porn. Then I discovered porn.
And then there was a deep world.
Oh man, I hated when you do like Kazaa or Bear Share, and then you'd which you shouldn't have done.
God,
but
I
I did.
loved Kazaa at the
Oh
time.
man, I used it so much, but I'd try to do something like, oh, I'm just gonna watch, the Flintstones meet the Jetsons. I want to download that movie because I was a child, and then you'd be like, why is it all this porn of the Jetsons? The internet was wild, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wild West.
Wild Wild West.
All right,
Tron-
what's next?
Tron says, what are your thoughts on Sony not renewing Lord Miller's studio contract due to Spider-Man Noir being over budget allegedly and Silk TV show being scrapped? Will this have an effect on Beyond the Spider-Verse?
Well, nothing. Number one, none of that has been verified. Just to be clear, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying none of that has been verified. There are rumors and reports out there, but no, and then so let's assume for a second that it is true, which we have no reason to believe it is, but let's say it is for a second. It has zero impact on the third Spider-Verse movie because that's something they're already working on. That's something that's covered. That's part of the work. It's even if they decide to stop their contract on any other project later, which I don't think is going to happen, but if it does, it still has no impact on the third Spider-Verse film. So that's the only thing that matters to me, to be honest with you. All right, what's next?
Tech says Sonic 3 is being promoted at Gamescom, but because no official assets have been released for the third movie, they can only use movie 2 assets at the convention. The movie is 4 months away with no trailer. Have you ever seen a rollout like this?
All the time. There are many movies that don't drop their first trailer till 3 or 4 months out. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Nothing to see here. All right, what's next?
Anthony says, Chris, what were your thoughts on Dragon Prince Season 6? I thought it was great. The animation stellar and story was wonderful.
Ooh, I really liked it. Oh, I thought it was really well done. The animation, I still am coming to grips with. I know it's gotten a lot better from the really choppy kind of like skipped frame stuff that we had in season 1, but the story is killer. All the Aravo stuff is wild. Blood of the Child. Ooh, Claudia, come on. Definitely worth watching. Really good storytelling. There were a lot of tonal issues in this season, though, because of how dark certain things got. When you'd hit a really light moment, it did feel a little off sometimes. But that's just me.
All right, what's next?
Neftali says, excuse me, I have a question about Batgirl. What happens to the movie? I know the studio got a tax write-off by canceling it, but does all the footage get destroyed? Is that how they get the tax write-off? What would be the consequences if it was leaked? It's not destroyed. It's
Well, there's
in
no
a vault.
consequences if it got leaked, but they're probably gonna burn it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they just flat up delete the whole thing.
They could. Or it's somewhere in a cold storage digital vault.
Yeah.
You know?
But again, if they're gonna call it as a tax write-off, they can't ever go back to it and revisit it.
No.
So yeah, it's gone. For all intents and purposes, it's gone. Now, if somebody were to break in and steal it and leak it online, there would be no ramifications for Warner Brothers at all because that's not their fault. But no, I think it's just ultimately going to just get deleted, probably.
David Zaslav just burns them and roasts marshmallows over them.
While laughing.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha.
Got him again.
All right, what's next?
Thomas Bombadil with a 4-parter. Hi, team. A lot has been said about the long wait times between seasons recently. I'd like to highlight a show that has mastered their production schedule, Slow Horses. Each season has a tight and incredibly effective 6 episodes of around 50 minutes each. Apple greenlight season 2 at a time, which means they shoot them back to back. When a new season drops, the cast does a couple weeks of interviews, then goes on to start production on the next season within a month. What's also great is that at the end of each season's finale, you get a full trailer for the next season. I have noticed that. And 9 months later, that season releases without fail, while the next block of 2 seasons is already in the works. As a fan, this feels amazing because you know the show you love is being taken care of, and you never have to wait even a year before you can reunite with Gary Oldman's farts. By the way, season 4 drops next week and is already getting rave reviews.
Ooh.
I have still not started watching Slow Horses.
I know.
I've heard nothing but glowing things about it. And I love Gary Oldman, so I'm going to start watching it at some point. But again, it brings it back to that whole thing about, I'm sorry, there is no reason why you can't have a proper release schedule for shows today. You know, I've been going down a rabbit hole of watching a little bit more of what I consider to be the greatest television show of all time, Battlestar Galactica. You look at the effects, the production, the story, everything in that. They put out a season every year. I every couple of years, I do a full rewatch of The West Wing. They were able to put out 20-something episodes every year. It's just, there's no excuse. Like, I could get the excuse, John, these ones are much bigger. Okay. And you only make 8 episodes instead of 22. So why can't you do that every year? They got to figure out a way to get this corrected. If you're going to do a TV show, do a proper TV show. Have 1 season a year. If you're going to deliver 25 episodes, okay, I can understand if maybe we have to wait 2 years for the next one. But waiting 2 years for a series that had 8 episodes or 6 episodes or 9 episodes, there's just no reason for it. All right, what's next?
We got Jamesy Boy. Hey, Moo Crew. Glad my first episode featured the Chris Carr. Seen you so much. Y'all feel like extended family. Question for you all. Is there a favorite memory where a theater worker went above and beyond to help you out? Thanks. Have a great day. I don't really have one.
I have, but they don't count. The one I'm thinking about particularly doesn't count because the theater worker knew who I was. So that doesn't really count. But then again, I can't really think of a time that I've needed a theater worker to go above and beyond to help me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, going to the movies is a pretty standard thing. I've never had a big problem with somebody being particularly rude to me in the seat next to me. I've never had... Yeah, I mean, okay, the worst case scenario, worst thing I had was... No, that doesn't even count. I take that back. Yeah, I can't really think of a situation. Any of you guys?
No?
Oh,
The Regal was really nice about switching my ticket for a movie when my windshield cracked and the bartender made my drink really strong.
yeah.
That worked. That counts.
That was nice. Thanks, Regal NoHo.
All right, what's next?
All right, Surviving Bennett with a 3-parter. Hey guys, you always say that a Ray movie is a stupid idea, but wouldn't it be smart to use Ridley Boyega and the crew now to do sequels and new stories while they're young, as opposed to what they did with Luke and the crew? The original series crew never got to have continuing adventures until they were old and tired, and the movies were a letdown to many OG fans. I think it would be better to get a solid planned out story and fix the Rey story instead of just leaving all the potential on the table and starting from scratch all over again with new characters. I mean, those sequels films did make over $3 billion. Imagine if they took time and planned them.
But they're broken. That's the thing. They're broken.
So perception is off now.
I am amongst the more optimistic people about and positive people about the trilogy, about the sequel trilogy, in that I loved the first one. I was okay on the second one, and I hated the third. But that puts me amongst one of the biggest optimists. And even I will tell you it's broken. You cannot compare the results and the impact that the original trilogy had with what you got with the sequel trilogy. They all made money. Definitely. I will always remind everybody of that. They made money, but it made declining money all the way through. And were you to put out a fourth, it would not have joined the $1 billion club. A bunch of Transformers movies made $1 billion and they were all awful. And then all of a sudden they put out The Last Night, Transformers The Last Night, and and that's what was coming for Star Wars. No, you don't take something that has not worked, something that is broken and failed, and say, let's just keep going with this. No, you assess the situation, you say, okay, that didn't work. We need to pivot, go in a different direction, and move on. And that's why I think it's a mistake for them to do some with Rey. And no, I don't think they should bring back Boyega, and I love Jonathan Boyega. I don't think they should bring back Poe, and I love Oscar Isaac. And I love Daisy Ridley. But no, this is a mistake. They should not do this. It's broken. The audience does not believe in it. The audience is not attached to it. It represents a very divisive thing amongst the fandom. It is nothing like the original trilogy. So no, I think I still continue to believe it's a huge mistake. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, my nan loved The King and I, and it's on when it's on TV, I think of her. She had a crush on Yul Brynner. When he came on TV, Granddad had to be quiet. Fun fact, the real Anna moved to Canada. Are there any movies that bring up happy memories of your grandparents?
Here's the thing. Growing up, I only got to see my maternal grandparents about once a year. Because I was born in Halifax, Nova Scotia, but I grew up in Hamilton, in the Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And my Italian grandparents did not go to the movies. So no, unfortunately for me, I have movie memories with my mom for sure, but I don't have any movie memories with my grandparents. How about you guys? And you guys have
Well, my grandfather really loved The Grapes of Wrath, and he really loved On the Waterfront. So those two movies kind of remind me of him a little bit. The other three, I never knew my grandfather on my father's side because he died before I was born. But then after that, movies like Goodfellas, The Godfather, that kind of stuff. That, not to be self-incriminating, but it reminds me of my family roots a little bit. Mm-hmm. So there's that.
Yeah. My Nana had a VHS of Spice World at her house for me.
Nice.
Which was awesome.
Well done.
And then my Grammy, who is not very nice, she took me to see Swan Princess. And she was a chain smoker, and this is one of my first memories. She was smoking in the car with all the windows up, and I started coughing. I'm
my God.
3 or 4, and she just goes, "Oh, grow up, Christine." And it's one of my favorite inside jokes now that my family does.
Out of a movie. That's great.
Yeah.
Is your Nan Predator preschool? No. Preschool Predator?
No, Grammy was the mean one. Nana was so nice. She was the Italian one. Grammy was my cold English grandmother.
All right, what's next?
Grow up.
How many more do we have to go, Jonathan?
Not many.
Okay, let's keep going then.
All right. Anonymous says, sorry, John, when I wrote in last month about being to buy concessions without a ticket, I was trying to give you a heads up that people would get the jump on the popcorn buckets before your afternoon showing. Should have been more clear. Ciao.
Yeah, again, I went to the very first showing of Deadpool and Wolverine that they had. The very first showing, 3 p.m. in the afternoon on the Thursday. And all their buckets were gone. And we're like, what happened? And the guy at the concession stand, we opened our doors at 9:30 and we had to line up with 250 people at the door. that just came to get the popcorn bucket. It's like, oh my God. You know what? I don't even want the popcorn bucket anymore. It's too small. It does not hold enough popcorn. So, whatever. It's all right.
All right, so we
what's
have
next?
the official count is 12 more.
All right, let's
Hey
keep going.
crew,
here.
over under 50% that we'll see Avengers on stage at an event next year before Doomsday. John made a good point that we saw the original 6 assemble in the first movie, but we did at least know who the team would be. Just curious as to your guess.
Ooh.
I don't understand what the question means.
Like, are we going to know who's on the lunchbox by
Yeah.
next year?
Oh, I thought they meant like, are we going to see a stage show like the Captain America stage
I think
show?
they mean like a Comic-Con. Will they come out?
Yes. Yeah. 100%. At probably the D23 or the Comic-Con prior to Doomsday coming out, we'll get the whole crew up there. So yes, I do. And I believe, I don't know this for sure, I'm just guessing. I think Captain America 4 is going to give us at least the beginning to a picture. The beginning to a picture of what the Avengers will look like.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
then they'll be part of the marketing.
Yep.
100%. You can't do a movie like Doomsday
And not know, yeah.
not market who's in the movie.
Yeah.
Who are your
So, yeah.
protagonists?
Yeah. Who are the heroes? Don't know. You have to come see the movie.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Hank Dunn says, I know we don't like Director X movie, but if Marvel wants Blade to be a horror action movie, I think Fede Alvarez should be seriously looked at to be the new director. I'd love to see the atmosphere that he brought to Alien to Blade.
Here's the problem though, Hank. Whenever a movie comes out that has any kind of footing, everybody then says that director should do this.
Yeah, like
That dir-
everything.
Like I
Yeah.
remember when The Lord of the Rings came out, every movie that was coming out should be directed by Peter Jackson. Then for a while, every movie that was coming out should be directed by Christopher Nolan. And every movie should be directed. And sure enough, now we have this, and I love Alien Romulus. I think I had a ball with it. I think it's a lot of fun. But now we've had like no less than 3 questions this week about, oh, this little horror? Oh, Fede Alvarez should direct it. Fede Alvarez should direct that. And yes, Fede Alvarez is great, and he will do more horror. But yeah, I lean away from just thinking the hot guy right now should be the one to do the next big property. I mean, if they announced it tomorrow, I'll be thrilled. If they announce tomorrow Fede Alvarez has been brought on to direct the new Blade movie, who among us would not be happy about that? I think that would be great. But I don't think he's like the go-to answer just because he has Alien Romulus out there right now. But I'm sure he would do a great job. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Filthy Film Fanatic says, venting. Recently went to my Regal Theater for Aliens Romulus, and even the effing trailers didn't start until 20 minutes after. Wow.
What?
After the time the movie was supposed to start. I did a ray and took a nap so bad I had to ask the workers if it was the right theater. Yeah, that seems like a big mess up.
Somebody fell asleep.
Yeah.
Not just you, buddy.
So, I mean, what would be understandable is if they had some kind of technical problem and they started the show late. I'm okay with that. But then if the showtime was 7 and my movie would have started at 7:28, you should better still start my movie at 7:28. Like if you had technical problems that delayed you're starting the trailers by 22 minutes, don't make me pay for that. Like show me 6 minutes of trailers and start the movie on time. But yeah, that's terribly important. You know, one of the things that I always talk about is the fact that considering there has to be like 50,000 screenings that happen a day in America. Like when you think about the number of screens and like 3 or 4 screenings per screen, there's got to be like 50,000 screenings a day. I'm shocked that there aren't more stories of big technical problems because a lot goes into them. All right, what's next?
All right. Renetus with a $20 tip.
Thank you.
Michelle Obama is the MVP of the night, and the DJ was on fire last night. This is a party. Anyway, keeping with the theme, what's your favorite political TV or movie? Mine was Scandal, The West Wing, Air Force One, and All the President's Men.
Easily The West Wing.
Yeah.
You know what? I just did my semi-annual rewatch of it, and I've changed my top 3 shows of all time. Because for the last number of years, it has been Battlestar Galactica, Sons of Anarchy, and Spartacus. Spartacus just got bumped out. And West Wing is now in there. So now my 3 favorite shows of all time are Battlestar Galactica, Sons of Anarchy, and West Wing. So yeah, that to me, it's easily West Wing. Do you have a favorite political one, Chris?
West Wing.
West Wing, yeah. Love it so much.
Love
Why
it.
can't I think of the one Michael J. Fox was on and then Charlie Sheen replaced him?
Oh,
Spin City?
I love
Spin City was great.
Yeah.
Spin City was pretty good.
Save Legends of Tomorrow. RE the Acolyte Star Wars projects that get the most audience criticism seem to be ones where the creators, including George Lucas with the prequels, try to deconstruct stuff. The Force, the Fall of the Jedi, character and plot origins, etc.
I don't know. I think you might be looking for a magic bullet. Boba Fett was horrible. It didn't try to deconstruct Star Wars, and it was just terrible, and which is really too bad because I was so excited about Boba Fett. So I think that's more coincidence than anything else. Look, they could have done a deconstruction of stuff and then still done it well. It's the execution. It's the not doing it well, and I think that's where they get tripped up. All right, what's next?
Optimus Prime Rib says theaters play ads reminding people to silence their phones. I feel like they should also include a reminder to not use their phones and step out if they need to use it. Phone screen lights are more common and more distracting than the sound going off.
I agree. See, that's why there was a movie theater chain that is now unfortunately closed called the ArcLight. It's where Quentin Tarantino used to go to the movies, and it was amazing. Anyway, for many reasons, including a rule of only 3 trailers before a movie. But what ArcLight did was that they didn't just play some PSA saying, please, at AMC theaters, the lights are best on the big screen. Instead of doing that, ArcLight literally had a crew member come into the theater, say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to join us for, I'm just gonna make one up, Deadpool and Wolverine tonight. The movie is 127 minutes long, and we're so excited that you're here. I want to remind, like having a physical person there to go, I want to remind everybody, please keep your phones put away. When you pull out your phone and check things, you are distracting the other people who came here to have a good night tonight. So we please ask you, and if you absolutely must, please step out of the auditorium before taking your phone out. And you know what? I'm not going to say it never happened that I ever saw somebody checking their phone in the theater in the ArcLight, but it was rare. And I think just a little thing like actually having a physical person, a crew member, walk in for 30 seconds, say, thanks for coming to AMC theaters or Regal theaters or Cinemark theaters or whatever. And just personally say, please make sure, guys, keep your phones put away. Like, I think that makes a big difference to people. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, do you think RDJ will also return as Iron Man in Secret Wars? Could be like Superman versus Superman moment in Injustice game.
I definitely think it's possible.
Or in Superman 3.
Yeah, I wouldn't put money on it, but I definitely think it's possible. To have there's only one guy that can stop that Tony, and it's another Tony. Or something like that. It could be. They could go to that. I don't know that they will, especially hearing what Robert Downey Jr. just said in the comments that we read. So it sounds like he might just play Victor, but I think the door is definitely open there that he could come back as Iron Man as well.
All right.
But I wouldn't put money on it. All right, what's next?
Final 3. Robert Verata says, just read that WNBA star Angel Reese is now brand ambassador for Reese's Pieces.
Ha!
Now that's on point branding. Now, how come Starbucks hasn't gotten Katie Sackhoff and Dirk Benedict as endorsers? Or Clark Candy Bar getting Caitlin Clark?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Caitlin Clark is expensive. And
even I know who she is.
Yeah.
That's how good she is at
she
sports.
just signed like multi-million-dollar deals with several brands. Here's the problem. I love Katie Sackhoff. Love her. Number 1 show of all time to me, Battlestar Galactica. And I've loved her ever since. She's not a household name, right? That's not a big brand. The WNBA, thanks to Caitlin Clark, is now a really big deal. It's quadrupled its ratings. Its attendance has gone through the roof. They're calling it the Caitlin Clark effect. And what's her full name? What's the name? Reese.
Angel Reese.
Angel Reese. She is a very strong second fiddle part of that coming out as well. And so, yeah, she's a big thing to sign there. But go out on the street, ask somebody if they know who Dirk Benedict is. Like, I'll say, Face Man, Starbuck. But no.
I know who Dirk Diggler is.
Who?
Dirk Diggler.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. The look. KJ says, hey, John and crew, just saw the trailer for The Piano Lesson, an adaptation of the Broadway play starring Samuel L. Jackson, Ray Fisher, and John David Washington. What a cast.
Dang.
Holy crap, it looks amazing. Well, what a cast, man.
Wow.
I can't remember if they showed us something for that at CinemaCon. I don't remember either. That is a hell of a cast. That's a hell of a cast. So I know we talked about it on the show a while ago, but I can't remember much about it. But I didn't know the trailer was out either, so I'll have to go check it out. All right, what's next?
God. Joe Adonis says, "Hi, y'all. The John Campea Show presents Chef Pleasure's Adobo booth at LA Comic Con. We got chicken adobo, pork adobo, chicken and pork adobo, adobong pusit, adobong talong, and even adobong King Kong. It's a mouthful, Jonathan. Sorry, yeah. Which one did Ray cook for y'all?"
Yeah, all of them.
He's probably done a lot of it.
Ray's cooked, or me.
Oh, wow.
Ray's cooked a lot of great food that I've tried. I don't think I've ever tried anything that's Ray's made that's been Filipino.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I don't think so.
Whenever I brought Ann adobo fried rice, you've never had it?
Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't know it came from you.
Man,
Oh,
it's so
yeah.
delicious.
I had your dad's
Right.
chicken adobo.
Oh, yeah.
Your dad's chicken adobo was pretty damn good. It was my first it was the first time I ever tried chicken adobo. Was the one your dad made. That was pretty bomb. But I don't remember you making it. So there's that.
Oh, wow.
We should do an adobo off.
Ooh.
An adobo.
Oh,
Adobo off. Yeah. Because mine's pretty kick ass, but I'm sure you could absolutely crush me.
No.
I'm
And was
proud
that
of
the
it.
last one?
Yeah.
And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making this little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. We'll be back again tomorrow. By the way, our friend, the Snyder, Jeff Snyder, is going to be joining us tomorrow. We'll look forward to that. Chris Carr is going to be back on Friday.
Yeah.
Hosting the show.
I'll be in the director's seat.
That's right,
Ooh.
on Friday. And most importantly, thank you to all you guys for being here. I want to thank Ray Ora,
See you guys later.
Jonathan Voico,
See you guys tomorrow.
Chris Carr.
Bye.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.